He saved 2 Apache women. 3 days later, 30 Apaches surrounded his hut. Marry one or both. His small ranch was modest, with a few horses, some cattle, and a weathered wooden hut that looked over the rolling fields. He had chosen this life for its peace and simplicity. Most days it was just him, the animals, and the open sky. But John had a kind of courage that made him notice things others might ignore. He never walked past someone in trouble without thinking about what he could do to help. That afternoon, the sun hung low in the sky, turning the horizon into a mix of gold and orange. John was checking on his herd of cattle when he noticed movement near the edge of the woods. At first, he thought it was just deer or a small group of travelers. But as he squinted, he realized it was something more serious. 2 women, moving quickly, seemed frightened. Behind them, a group of men on horseback followed at a distance, riding fast, their intent clear. John's heart raced as he watched. Something about the urgency in the women's steps told him they were in danger. Without wasting a moment, John ran back to his hut, grabbing his coat and a rope. He mounted his horse, feeling the familiar strength of the animal beneath him. The wind whipped past his face as he rode toward the women, his mind racing. He knew the land better than anyone. There were paths, hidden trails, and river crossings that could give him an advantage. He had lived here long enough to understand the rhythms of the plains and the ways to move quietly and safely through them. As he drew closer, he saw that the women were struggling to stay ahead. Their faces were filled with fear, their breaths coming in quick, shallow gasps. One of them stumbled over a rock, almost falling to the ground. John's heart clenched. He shouted, "This way." "Follow me." His voice carried over the sound of hooves and the wind. The women hesitated for a moment, unsure if the stranger could be trusted. But the danger behind them left little choice. They turned toward him, hoping his guidance would lead them to safety. John guided them through narrow trails hidden among the trees and rocks. The men chasing them were persistent, but the terrain favored John. He knew secret paths and shortcuts, small hills that could block sight and streams that could slow down pursuers. As they moved, he could see the relief in the women's eyes, though fear still lingered. One of them, younger, glanced at him with wide, trusting eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, though she barely had the breath to speak. They reached a small ravine where John's horse could jump down safely, and he gestured for the women to follow him. They leaped carefully, landing without injury. John could hear the riders struggling to follow, their shouts growing more distant as he led the women into thicker woods. Every step was calculated, every move meant to keep them just out of reach. By the time they reached a hidden clearing near his hut, the sun had dipped lower and shadows stretched long across the fields. John led them into his hut, closing the door behind them. The women sank to the floor, exhausted but safe. John offered them water from a jug he kept nearby and blankets to cover themselves. The younger woman took a deep breath, relief washing over her face, while the older one studied him with cautious curiosity. Neither spoke much at first. The silence was filled with the sound of the wind outside and the soft breathing of the animals in the nearby barn. "You're safe here," John said softly, not wanting to alarm them further. "No one can reach you now. I won't let anyone hurt you." His words were simple, but they carried the weight of someone who meant them. The women looked at each other, then back at him. There was gratitude in their eyes, but also hesitation. They were strangers in a world far from their home, and trust was not given lightly. As the evening fell, John prepared a small meal. He didn't know much about the women's food preferences, but he offered what he had: bread, some cheese, and roasted meat. They ate quietly, the younger one nibbling slowly while the older woman sipped water carefully. John watched them, feeling a mix of relief and responsibility. He knew the danger was not entirely gone. The men who had chased them might return and the women's tribe might come looking. He had to be ready for both. While they ate, John asked gently, "Do you want to tell me what happened?" The women exchanged glances. The older one finally spoke, her voice low but steady. We were traveling between villages when a group of men attacked us. We ran as fast as we could, but they were strong and we were alone." She paused, swallowing hard. "If you hadn't appeared, I don't know what would have happened." Her eyes shone with unshed tears, and John felt a lump in his throat. He nodded. "It's all right now, you're safe here. You can rest." He gave them space, letting them breathe and recover. He could feel their trust growing slowly, though he knew it would take time for them to feel fully comfortable. Outside, the wind carried the scent of pine and earth, a calm contrast to the tension that had filled the day. Night fell and the women settled on blankets on the floor. John kept a quiet watch, sitting by the small fire in the corner of the hut. He thought about what had happened and what might come next. He had always believed in helping others, but this was different. This was serious, and he felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He could not let anything happen to them while they were under his care. Hours passed, and the hut grew quiet except for the crackle of the fire. John's mind wandered, thinking about the families of the women, wondering if they were worried, and about the men who had chased them, who might return with more danger. He knew he had to be ready for anything. Still, he felt a sense of calm knowing he had done the right thing. He had saved lives today, and that was worth everything. As John finally lay down near the fire, he listened to the soft breathing of the women. He realized that the simple life he had built on the plains had prepared him for moments like this. He knew how to protect, how to move through the land, and how to stay calm under pressure. But this was different. This involved people, trust, and decisions that could change lives. He was ready to face it, no matter what came next. Outside, the stars blinked in the clear sky and the plains were silent. For now, the danger had passed and the women were safe. John felt a quiet pride in what he had done, but he also knew the story was far from over. This was only the beginning. The morning sun rose slowly over the plains, painting the horizon with shades of gold and pink. John had already been awake for hours. He moved quietly around his hut, checking the perimeter and the small fence around his animals. He wanted to make sure everything was safe before the women woke. He knew that danger was never far away in this part of the world. Even though the immediate threat of the men who had chased the women had passed, John could not ignore the possibility that more trouble could come. By the time the women stirred from their blankets, John had prepared a simple breakfast: bread, eggs, and fresh milk. The younger woman, Anna, stretched and rubbed her eyes, still tired from the exhausting flight of the previous day. The older woman, Naya, seemed more cautious, sitting upright and observing her surroundings carefully. She had the look of someone who had learned to survive in a harsh world. Neither of them spoke much at first. Words felt unnecessary. Their trust in John was growing slowly, but caution still lingered. John handed them plates of food. "Eat," he said gently. "You need strength. You have had a hard night." Anna smiled faintly and took a piece of bread, while Naya nodded quietly, still scanning the horizon from the window. John noticed the worry in her eyes. He understood. It was not just the men they had escaped from, but the world beyond these plains that could be unforgiving. While they ate, John asked softly, "Do you know where your people are?" "Your tribe?" Naya hesitated, glancing at Anna. "We are not far," she said carefully. "But our village is small. They will notice we are missing and they will come looking. We just didn't know if we could survive the chase." She paused and took a deep breath. "You saved us. We owe you our lives." Her words were simple, but they carried the weight of gratitude and respect. John nodded, feeling the responsibility settle heavier on his shoulders. "I just did what anyone should do. But you must understand, I can help you, but we may need a plan if your people come looking." He thought carefully. He had grown up around stories of the Apache and other tribes, and he knew that their culture was deeply respectful but also protective. They would want answers. They would want to know the intentions of the man who had taken their women in. As the morning passed, the women began to share more about themselves. Anna, The younger one spoke softly about her family and the small village she had come from. Her eyes lit up as she described her life before the danger, but then dimmed as she recounted the attack. Naya, older and wiser, spoke more carefully, sharing pieces of her knowledge about the land, her people, and survival skills. John listened intently, learning not only about them, but also about their strength and resilience. He felt admiration for them, not just for surviving the chase, but for their courage in trusting a stranger. By late morning, John knew that the quiet of his hut could not last much longer. The women's tribe would find out about what had happened, and he had to be ready. He explained to the women, "I want to help you, but I also need you to understand that your people may come here. It may be today, it may be tomorrow. We need to stay calm and think about what we will do when they arrive." Naya nodded, her expression serious. "We trust you," she said, "but we must be ready to answer their questions. They may be strong and they will expect respect." John agreed. He had no intention of disrespecting the tribe, but he also knew that sudden confrontation could be dangerous if they misunderstood his actions. He walked around the hut, checking the perimeter again, making sure the horses were ready and the animals safe. He needed to anticipate every possibility. The plains were beautiful in the morning light, but the beauty could be deceiving. Danger often came quietly, and he could not afford to be unprepared. By midday, the air grew warmer, and the women rested on the blankets again, speaking in hushed tones. John could hear them planning quietly, not just about the attack, but about what their tribe might expect. He gave them space, knowing that they needed this time to process everything. As he worked outside, tending to the animals, he kept one eye on the horizon. Then, in the distance, he saw movement. At first, he thought it might be travelers or hunters, but the way the group moved told him otherwise. About 30 riders appeared on the ridge, moving in formation. John felt a chill run down his spine. These were not casual travelers. They were organized, disciplined, and clearly watching him as closely as he watched them. He could see the sun glinting off their weapons and the patterned blankets of the tribe. His heart beat faster, but he stayed calm. He knew that any sudden movement could alarm them. He dismounted slowly, keeping his hands visible, and called out in a respectful voice. "I mean no harm," he said. "I only helped your people." The riders stopped and formed a loose circle around his hut. Their leader, a tall man with a commanding presence, stepped forward. His eyes were sharp, but there was no immediate anger. Instead, there was curiosity and caution. John felt the weight of the moment. He had helped the women, but now he had to face their people and show respect without fear. The leader spoke in a language John could only partially understand, but Naya and Anna translated carefully. "He saved us," Naya said. "He brought us to safety." The leader listened, then nodded slowly. John noticed that the tribe's eyes were on him, but also on the hut and the women inside. They were not aggressive yet, but the tension was unmistakable. Every decision he made in the next moments would matter. John took a deep breath. He walked slowly toward the edge of the hut, raising his hands slightly to show he carried nothing threatening. "I am just a man who saw people in danger," he said. "I gave them shelter and safety. I ask only that you hear me and understand my intentions." The leader studied him carefully, then nodded once, signaling for the others to wait. John felt a mixture of relief and nervousness. He had respect for these people, and he knew they would respect honesty and courage. As they spoke, Anna and Naya came to the doorway. Their presence calmed the tribe somewhat. They could see that the women were unharmed and were resting. The leader approached the hut slowly and spoke to John again. Naya translated, "They want to know your intentions. They respect that you saved us, but they need to know, what is your plan for us now?" John paused, considering his words carefully. He did not want to offend anyone, but he also wanted to protect the women. "I want to respect you and your people," he said. "I will not harm them and I will not take advantage of them. I only wish to see that they are safe. I will follow your guidance and respect your customs. I ask only for trust and patience." The tribe listened, their expression serious, and the leader nodded slowly. He seemed to consider John's words, weighing his honesty against the uncertainty of the situation. The afternoon passed slowly as the tribe observed the hut and spoke among themselves. John stayed outside, keeping a careful eye on the women and the approaching riders. He knew that their arrival was not just about questioning him. It was a test of character, courage, and respect. The women looked to him occasionally, their expressions a mix of fear and hope. John understood. They trusted him to navigate this delicate moment. As the sun began to dip low in the sky, the leader finally spoke again. His words were firm but fair, and Nea translated. "He has saved our people. He speaks with honesty, but we will remain until we know he respects our ways and our wishes." John nodded. He had expected this. The tribe had every right to protect their own. All he could do was remain calm, respectful, and patient. Night fell over the plains, and the group of 30 Apache warriors made camp around John's hut. Fires burned in small circles, and the soft murmur of voices carried through the air. John sat quietly outside, tending to his own small fire, while the women rested inside. He could feel the weight of the day pressing down on him. He had saved lives, but now he had to navigate a complex situation with care and respect. Though tense, there was a sense of understanding forming. The tribe could see that John had risked himself to help the women. They could see that he was honest and that he meant no harm. The women, for their part, were safe and beginning to trust him more. Outside, the stars shone over the plains, reflecting off the small fires of the tribe. John felt a quiet resolve settle over him. He had acted bravely, and now he would act wisely. The next morning, the air was crisp and clear over the plains. John had barely slept, though he had tried. He knew that today would be the day when everything changed. The Apache tribe had remained outside his hut all night, quietly observing, their small fires flickering in the dark. Now, with the sun rising, the women were awake, and the tension of the situation pressed on John more heavily than ever. He could hear the soft murmurs of the tribe outside. Their leader walked slowly back and forth, speaking to others in his language, his face serious. John went outside to greet them, keeping his hands visible and calm. "I want to show respect," he said. "Please tell me how I can do what is right." The tribe stopped and watched him, their horses shifting nervously, but no one moved aggressively. John noticed their eyes, alert and watchful, measuring his every word, his every movement. He knew that in these moments, honesty and patience were more powerful than any weapon. The women, Anna and Nea, followed him quietly, staying just behind. John could see the mixture of fear and trust in their faces. They had survived a chase, and now they faced another test, one of culture, of tradition, and of trust. Nea whispered softly, "They will ask for your intentions. Be careful, but be truthful. We will follow your words if they see respect." John nodded. He had never been more aware of the importance of what he was about to say. The tribe's leader finally stepped forward, his tall figure casting a long shadow across the ground. He raised his hand slightly, a gesture that John understood as a request for attention and calm. Nea translated his words slowly. "We have come to see the man who saved our people. He has shown bravery, but we must know his heart. What does he wish for these women? Will he take one? Will he take both? Or will he leave them in our care?" John felt the weight of the question like a stone pressing on his chest. He had come here to protect the women, not to make a choice that could change their lives. But he understood. This was the tribe's way of ensuring that he acted responsibly and respected their customs. He took a deep breath and spoke slowly, his voice calm but firm. "I wish only to protect them and see that they are safe. I have no desire to harm them or take advantage of them. If they are allowed to make their own choice, I will honor it. I will follow the guidance of their tribe." The leader nodded, considering John's words carefully. Then, with a gesture, he called the women to come forward. Anna and Nea stepped out of the hut, their faces calm but serious. The tribe watched them, not as captives, but as individuals whose voices mattered. John felt a surge of admiration for them. Even in the face of uncertainty, they stood tall, ready to speak for themselves if necessary. The leader spoke again, and Nea translated. "The man has saved you, but we must understand what you want. You may choose. Speak now, and your choice will guide the decision of our tribe." John stayed silent, letting the women answer first. He wanted them to know that they were not powerless in this moment. Their voices, their wishes mattered most. Anna spoke first. Her voice was quiet but steady. "I am grateful to John for saving me," she said. "He protected me when I could not protect myself. I trust him, but I must decide carefully. I wish to remain safe and respected. I cannot speak for Nea, but I know we have survived because of his help." She paused, taking a deep breath, then looked at John with honest eyes. "I want to choose freely without fear or pressure." Nea followed, her voice stronger, filled with quiet authority. "I too am grateful. John has done what no stranger would do. He saved our lives. I wish to honor our people, our tribe, in my own heart. I do not wish for conflict. I wish for respect, and I wish to be heard. Whatever decision is made, it must respect both women's wishes and the ways of our people." John felt a mix of relief and responsibility. Their words were clear, but the situation was delicate. He had to honor their wishes, but also show the tribe that he understood their customs. "I understand," he said. "I promise to follow your guidance and to respect both of your choices. I will not force anything, and I will act with honesty and care. Your voices are the most important here." The tribe murmured among themselves, their expressions serious. John noticed that some of the men nodded slightly, while others looked thoughtful. He realized that they were weighing his character as much as his words. They were not just looking at the act of saving the women, they were looking at the man who had done it, his courage, his respect, and his honesty. After a long moment, the leader spoke again. Nea translated slowly. "We see that the man speaks with honesty. But he must make a statement. We will give him a choice. He may ask to marry one, both, or none. He must do this with respect, and we will accept his decision. The women may also speak for themselves. This is our custom. We protect our people, and we ensure that actions are honorable." John's heart pounded in his chest. He had never expected to face such a situation. He thought of the women, of their lives, and of the responsibility he now carried. He wanted to protect them, to honor them, and to act with integrity. But he also knew that any decision must respect their wishes and the tribe's customs. He looked at Anna and Nea, seeing courage and wisdom in their eyes. They had survived the chase, and now they faced another challenge. He took a deep breath and spoke slowly, carefully choosing his words. "I do not wish to force anything. I wish to protect them and respect their choices. If it is acceptable, I will follow the guidance of both women and your tribe. Whatever is decided, I will honor it fully." The leader nodded slowly. "Your words are measured. You show respect, and that is valued." Nea translated, and John could see the tension in the tribe's faces ease slightly. They were still cautious, but they could sense his honesty. He knew that the next moments would be crucial. The women would make their statements, and the tribe would judge if he was worthy of their trust. Anna stepped forward again. "I wish to choose freely," she said. "I trust John to protect me. I do not wish for conflict. If I am to join him in any way, it must be because I choose it, not because I am told." She looked at John with quiet sincerity. "I trust you, but I must speak my own mind." Nea spoke next, her voice calm and firm. "I too will choose freely. John has saved my life, and I respect him for that, but I will not be forced. I wish to honor our people in my own heart. I trust that he will listen, and that he will respect the decision of both of us." John felt a deep sense of respect and responsibility. He understood their courage and their wisdom. These women had survived danger, and now they faced a moment that could change their lives. He wanted to ensure that every choice was made with care, respect, and understanding. The leader of the tribe spoke once more. "You have shown courage and respect. Your words are honest and your heart is seen. We will allow the women to make their choice. This is our way. Honor, honesty, and respect guide us. The decision is theirs and you will follow it." John nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. He had acted bravely to save lives, but now the real test was beginning. He would follow the women's wishes, honor the tribe's customs, and ensure that every action reflected integrity and care. The morning stretched on, quiet and tense, with the tribe watching carefully. John stayed calm, showing patience and respect. Anna and Nea whispered to each other, considering their options, their voices low but confident. John knew that whatever decision was made, it would be the result of courage, trust, and honesty. He was ready to act wisely, guided by the voices of the women he had saved and the customs of the tribe. By midday, the women had spoken privately with the tribe, and John listened carefully, giving them space. He realized that this was not just a test of courage, it was a test of character, of respect, and of the ability to listen and honor others. The tribe had shown him trust, and the women had shown him courage. Now it was time to see if his actions would match their expectations. The afternoon sun hung high in the sky, casting long shadows across the plains, and John walked slowly around his hut. His mind was heavy with thoughts and questions. The events of the past 2 days had left him exhausted, but there was no time to rest. He had saved Anna and Nea, but now the challenge was far more complex. The tribe had arrived, and their respect and trust were not something to be taken lightly. He knew he had to act carefully, thoughtfully, and with honesty. John sat by the small fire outside his hut, looking at the soft smoke curling into the sky. The tribe had formed a loose circle around his home, giving him space but keeping watch. Anna and Nea were inside, speaking quietly with each other, their voices gentle but firm. John could hear pieces of their conversation through the window, and he realized how strong and wise they both were. They had survived danger, and now they were preparing to make a decision that could change their lives. As he sat, John reflected on everything that had happened. He remembered the chase, the fear in the women's eyes, and the relief he had felt when they finally reached his hut. He thought about the tribe, their customs, and their expectations. He realized that this was not just a test of courage, but a test of character. Every word he had spoken, every action he had taken had been observed. He could not afford to make a mistake. John thought about what it meant to protect someone, to truly care for them. He had saved lives, but now he had to consider the future. How could he honor the women's wishes while respecting the tribe's customs? He understood that this was not just about him, but about trust, culture, and responsibility. He had never faced a situation like this before, and yet he felt a quiet determination growing within him. He would do what was right, no matter how difficult. He remembered Anna's words, her calm but firm voice as she had asked to choose freely. He remembered Nea's wisdom, her insistence on respect and honor. He realized that their courage and strength were just as important as his own actions. He could guide and protect, but the ultimate choice belonged to them. He had to be patient, to listen, and to act with care. John decided to take a walk across his land, letting the fresh air clear his mind. He moved slowly, thinking through every possibility. He considered how he could ensure the women's safety, how he could show the tribe that he respected their ways, and how he could act with honesty and integrity. Each step on the soft earth seemed to ground him, giving him clarity. He knew that whatever decision was made, it had to be thoughtful, respectful, and fair. Back at the hut, Anna and Nea were preparing quietly. They were discussing their feelings, their hopes, and their fears. John could see their determination through the window, and it filled him with admiration. These women had been through so much, yet they faced this new challenge with courage and wisdom. He realized that their voices mattered most, and he had to be ready to listen carefully. As the sun began to lower in the sky, John returned to his fire and sat quietly, thinking about how to approach the tribe. He knew that words alone could not show respect, actions mattered. He would need to demonstrate patience, humility, and understanding. He began to plan how he could speak to the tribe in a way that honored both the women and their customs. He thought about the moments when he had spoken truthfully before, and he knew that honesty would guide him now as well. Evening approached, and the tribe's fires began to glow more brightly against the darkening sky. John could hear soft voices from the women inside, and he knew they were preparing themselves mentally and emotionally for what would come. He felt a deep respect for them. They had survived danger, they had trusted him, and now they were choosing their paths carefully. John realized that the best way to honor them was to give them space, to listen, and to act with integrity. He considered the possibility of asking to marry one or both of the women, as the tribe had suggested, but he knew this could only happen if it was truly their choice. He had saved lives, but he could not dictate the future. His role was to protect, guide, and respect. He decided that he would speak to the tribe honestly about his intentions, making it clear that he would follow the women's wishes above all. Night fell over the plains, and the stars shone brightly above. John sat quietly by his fire, feeling the calm of the night mixed with the weight of responsibility. He knew that tomorrow, he would need to speak to the tribe and make his intentions clear. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment to reflect on the events that had brought him here. He thought about the chase, the fear, and the courage of the women. He thought about the tribe, their wisdom, and their respect for tradition. John felt a quiet resolve settle over him. He would act with patience and honesty. He would respect the women's choices, and he would honor the tribe's customs. He knew that this was not a simple decision, but he was ready to face it. He also knew that whatever happened, the women's trust and the tribe's respect were more important than any personal desire. He remembered the fear in the women's eyes during the chase, and the relief when they reached his hut. He remembered the tribe's watchful eyes and the seriousness of their expectations. He realized that courage was not just about action, it was about thoughtfulness, respect, and integrity. He had acted bravely, but now he needed to act wisely. John decided that tomorrow he would speak to the tribe with clarity and respect. He would explain his intentions, make his position clear, and ensure that the women's voices were heard above all. He knew that this was the only way to honor everyone involved. He also resolved to remain calm, patient, and understanding, no matter how the tribe reacted. He returned to the hut to check on Anna and Nea. They were resting quietly, but he could see the tension in their faces. He spoke softly, "Rest well tonight. Tomorrow we will speak with the tribe. Whatever happens, I will respect your wishes and protect you." Anna and Nea nodded, understanding the weight of his words. They felt a quiet reassurance from him, knowing that he was honest, thoughtful, and committed to acting with respect. John stayed awake for a while longer, tending the small fire and thinking about what he would say to the tribe. He wanted to express his gratitude for their understanding, his respect for their customs, and his commitment to honesty. He also wanted to make it clear that the women's choices were paramount. He planned his words carefully, knowing that the right approach could make all the difference. As the night deepened, John finally allowed himself to rest, knowing that he had prepared as best he could. He trusted in his honesty, in the courage of the women, and in the wisdom of the tribe. He felt a quiet hope that the next day would bring understanding, respect, and a path forward that honored everyone involved. The morning sun rose slowly over the plains, casting a warm glow across John's small hut. Birds chirped softly in the trees, and the wind carried the fresh scent of grass and earth. John stood outside, taking deep breaths to calm his mind. Today would be the day when everything came together. He knew the tribe expected clarity, and the women's trust weighed heavily on him. He wanted to honor both. He wanted to act with fairness, courage, and respect. Anna and Nea were awake early, as if sensing the importance of the day. They moved quietly around the hut, gathering their few belongings and preparing themselves mentally for the conversation ahead. Both women had faced danger before, but this moment required a different kind of bravery, a courage of the heart, of honesty, and of choice. John looked at them with quiet admiration. He felt proud to have met such brave and thoughtful people, and he knew that whatever happened today would change their lives forever. The tribe had been awake for some time as well. Small fires burned in circles outside the hut, and their voices rose and fell in low tones. John could see the leader standing with calm authority, watching carefully, ready to respond. The other warriors stood nearby, their eyes focused but not threatening. They had come to observe, to ensure that respect and honesty guided every action. John knew that their presence was not just about authority, but also about protecting the women, their people, and their traditions. John stepped forward, his hands visible, speaking with calm respect. "I am ready to speak," he said softly. "I have prepared my words carefully because I want to honor both the women and your customs. I will speak honestly, and I will listen to the wishes of Anna and Nea. Whatever they choose, I will follow, and I will act with respect." The leader of the tribe nodded slowly, signaling for everyone to pay attention. Nea translated his gestures and words for Anna, and the two women stepped out to join John. The tribe watched closely, their expressions serious but calm. There was a quiet tension in the air, but it was not fear. It was the weight of responsibility, respect, and tradition. John began, speaking slowly, choosing each word with care. "I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to both of you for trusting me, and thank you to your tribe for allowing me to help and protect you. I never expected to be in this position, but I understand the responsibility I now carry. My only intention has been to save lives and ensure safety. I have no desire to cause conflict or disrespect anyone. I wish to honor your choices and the guidance of your people." Anna looked at him, her eyes steady and thoughtful. "Your words are honest," she said softly. "I trust that you mean them." Nea nodded as well, her expression calm but firm. "We know you have acted bravely and with care," she added. "Now it is time to make clear your intentions and listen to our wishes. We must all understand what comes next." The leader of the tribe spoke again, and Nea translated. "The man has saved your lives. He speaks with respect. We will listen, but we must ensure that his actions honor our customs and the freedom of both women. Speak now. Tell us your intentions and we will guide the path forward." John took a deep breath and looked at both women. He saw their courage, their wisdom, and their trust in him. He knew that he could not act for them. He could only act with honesty and respect. "I wish to protect both of you," he said. "I wish to honor your choices. If either of you wishes to join me in any way, I will respect it fully. I will follow your guidance and the guidance of your tribe. I do not want to force anything, and I do not wish to harm anyone. My only wish is to act with integrity and respect." The tribe listened carefully. The leader's eyes studied John, then shifted to the women. There was a long pause as everyone absorbed the words. Finally, Anna stepped forward. "I have thought carefully," she said. "I trust John because he saved me and has acted with honesty. I wish to join him, but only if it is my choice. I want safety, respect, and a voice in this decision. I choose to follow my heart and trust him." Nea spoke next, her voice calm and certain. "I too have considered everything. John has saved my life, and I have seen his honesty and courage. I choose to trust him as well. But this is not just about personal choice. It is about respect for our people, our customs, and our voices. I wish to join him only because it is my decision, not because I am told. I trust that John will honor that fully." John felt a deep relief and gratitude. The women had chosen freely, with courage and wisdom. He knew that this moment was a balance of respect, trust, and understanding. He nodded solemnly. "I will honor both of you," he said. I promise to act with integrity, to respect your choices, and to follow the guidance of your tribe. I will ensure that your voices are heard and your wishes respected every step of the way." The leader of the tribe nodded slowly. He raised his hand slightly, a gesture that signaled acknowledgement and approval. Nea translated his words. "The man has shown honesty, courage, and respect. He has listened and acted with integrity. You have both chosen freely. This is our way. Your choices are respected and your futures are honored." The other warriors nodded as well, some smiling quietly, others showing thoughtful expressions. They understood that this moment had tested courage, honesty, and respect. John had passed the test, not through force or words alone, but through consistent actions and integrity. The tribe had witnessed his character and they approved. John looked at Anna and Nea, feeling a deep sense of respect and gratitude for their courage. "We will move forward together," he said softly. "I will protect you, listen to you, and ensure that your lives are honored. We will face the future with honesty, respect, and care." The women nodded, their eyes reflecting relief, trust, and a quiet happiness. The tribe began to relax, forming a circle and lowering their weapons. Fires burned brightly, and the air was filled with a sense of calm and understanding. The tension of the past days began to lift, replaced by respect, trust, and the acknowledgement of courage. John felt a quiet joy, knowing that he had acted with honesty, integrity, and respect, and that the women had chosen freely. Anna and Nea stepped closer to John, and he could see their trust shining in their eyes. He knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter, one built on courage, respect, and understanding. The tribe remained nearby, watching carefully, but their expressions showed acceptance and approval. John understood that he had earned their respect through his actions, his honesty, and his willingness to listen and follow guidance. The day passed slowly, filled with quiet conversations, shared meals, and moments of understanding. John, Anna, and Nea spoke together, planning the future, discussing the land, and considering the ways they would live in harmony with the tribe and with each other. John realized that this was more than just a personal choice. It was a responsibility, a commitment to honesty, respect, and protection. By evening, the tribe had begun to prepare to return to their village, satisfied that their people were safe and that John had acted with integrity. The leader approached John one last time, offering a small, respectful gesture of acknowledgement. Nea translated his words. "You have proven yourself worthy of trust. You have acted with courage and honesty. Our people are safe and the women are respected. We honor your actions." John bowed his head slightly, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Thank you," he said softly. "I will continue to act with respect, courage, and honesty. I will ensure that the women are safe and that their voices are always heard." Anna and Nea smiled quietly, feeling reassured by his words and actions. As night fell, the plains were calm, and the fires of the tribe flickered softly in the distance. John, Anna, and Nea sat together outside the hut, looking up at the stars. They had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty, and they had acted with courage, honesty, and respect. The events of the past days had tested them all, but they had emerged stronger, united, and with a deep understanding of trust and integrity. John felt a quiet pride, not just in his own actions, but in the bravery and wisdom of the women. They had survived, chosen freely, and guided the outcome with courage and care. He knew that their journey was only beginning, but he also knew that together they could face any challenge. The tribe had returned to their village, satisfied that their people were safe, their customs respected, and their voices honored. John, Anna, and Nea sat together, sharing quiet moments, reflecting on the events and planning the days ahead. The plains were peaceful once more, but the lessons of respect, courage, and integrity remained strong in their hearts. John understood that true courage was not just in action, but in thoughtfulness, honesty, and the willingness to listen and respect others. Anna and Nea had shown that strength and wisdom could guide choices, even in the most difficult circumstances. Together, they had built a bond of trust, respect, and understanding that would carry them forward into the future.